There's always a difference between planning and implementation. Politicians make a slew of promises while on the campaign trail, but the implementation is a different story altogether, because after the results, political realities come into play. And the reality this time is this. It's not a BJP majority government, it's a coalition government. A government that will have to listen to its allies. And the fact is that the allies may have things to say that the government won't like. Take this for example.
अग्निवीर योजना को लेकर के मतदाताओं के एक हिस्से में नाराजगी रही है। हमारी पार्टी चाहती है कि विस्तार से उन कमियों खामियों को दूर किया जाए, जिसको लेकर के जनता ने सवाल उठाए।
That was JDU spokesperson. He spoke about the Agnipath Scheme. It's a recruitment scheme for the Indian Armed Forces. Under it, applicants, or Agniveers as they're called, serve for 4 years. Only 25% of these recruits are retained after this 4-year stint. The remaining 75% have to go. And this has led to considerable backlash. Almost every opposition party has spoken out against the scheme, and the BJP's allies also want it reviewed. New reports say that there are talks to tweak the scheme. That's also what the JDU spokesperson had asked for. But if the Agnipath scheme stays unpopular, the BJP's allies may demand that it gets scrapped. And this is not the only contentious issue. There's also the UCC, the Uniform Civil Code. Presently, different religious communities in India follow different personal laws. These are laws related to personal matters like marriage, divorce, inheritance. Different laws for different religions. The BJP government had proposed doing away with this and bringing in a single law for all religious communities in India. Now, this is another hotly debated issue and may lead to resentment in some quarters. After all, the UCC seeks to change customs that people have followed for centuries. Now, the JDU says that they're not against the UCC, but they want a discussion on the topic with all stakeholders. The TDP also wants a discussion on the Uniform Civil Code, which means that the allies could now control the law's fate. So the Agnipath scheme and the UCC will be discussed. Another major issue will be delimitation. India is the most populous nation in the world. We recently overtook China for that title. India has been growing continuously for decades. But you know what hasn't kept up with this growth? The number of parliamentary seats. India has 543 Lok Sabha seats, and this number has remained fixed since 1973, when India's population was about 500 million. So our population has grown about 2.5 times since the 1970s, but our parliamentary seats have not grown. Why is that? Because not all regions have grown equally. Certain states, especially the ones in South India, have a slow population growth. They successfully implemented family planning policies early on, but other states took much longer to reduce their population growth. And this has led to a disparity. Now, the southern states found themselves shrinking as a percentage of India's total population. And that is why expanding the parliament has been put on hold since 1973, because it was almost like punishing the southern states for doing a good job. But now, after more than 50 years, the Indian Parliament is set to expand again. The delimitation freeze ends in 2026. It can take place any year after that, any year after 2026. The BJP wants to go ahead with delimitation, but some southern states are afraid that this will hurt their representation in Parliament. The TDP is a party from a southern state. It has skin in the game, so it will have red lines when it comes to delimitation. But for now, they're keeping their cards to themselves, hiding their position under the garb of discussions. But there's one red line that the TDP has not been shy about spelling out, and that is the Muslim Quota in Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh has a 4% reservation for Muslim people. The BJP has been against religion-based quotas, but the TDP says nothing doing. Andhra Pradesh's Muslim quota is not going anywhere.
Poverty remains high among Muslims today. It's our responsibility to help them in times like this. This is why we will save the 4% reservation for Muslims. There's no other idea in this.
The Muslim quota is the TDP's explicit red line, no discussion. All the others are also points of friction between the BJP and its allies. We'll see in the coming months and years how this plays out, whether the BJP can find common ground or if the red lines end up tearing the NDA government apart.